Oh, wow. Timothy Bradley, Desert Storm, responds to Terence Crawford's lawsuit with accusations against former promoter Bob Arum and Top Rank. And I'll just give you guys a spoiler. Tim Bradley does not side with the standpoint or cannot relate to what Terence Crawford is suing his former promoter for. Boom. You want to know more on that? Stay tuned to this video. What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. 2022, I want to make it very clear. We got to establish some ground rules. I'll put out the fire content. You guys subscribe, throw a like on the video. These things go a long way. Reach one, teach one, help others find the content by throwing a like on the video. Let's start the year out right. Now, Boxing Reporter just posted this, and I guess Tim Bradley did a response. I'm not sure if he did the response with the Boxing Reporter specifically. I'm assuming so, based on the fact that there's no attribution or nothing else is cited. So maybe this is a direct quote that the reporter, Dan, was able to get from Tim Bradley, since nothing else is cited. But it says, Tim Bradley on the RACISM allegations brought up by Terence Crawford in this new lawsuit towards Top Rank. The direct quote from Bradley states, quote, "In all my years with Top Rank, I've never ever been mistreated in that fashion at all. Point blank, period. And I'm going to leave at that. Leave it at that. I'm assuming that's what he meant. I'm going to leave it at that." So, interesting stuff. I really advise you guys to check out some of the other content that I've dropped this year recently on this very situation. So, Terence Crawford, he finally leaves Bob Arum. This is something that a lot of people have requested from him. Now he's suing. New York Post really broke the story. They were the first that I seen. And they pulled up the charges and the lawsuit. Boxingego was able to obtain a copy of this suit, and I've talked about it on my channel, so make sure you guys check out some of those unpacked videos where I really deep dive into some of the pages. But to give you guys the cliff notes, in this video, Terence Crawford is suing Bob Arum, who is the founder and promoter that worked with him since 2011. And he's suing him and saying that he's alleging that there's been revolting racial bias, which has hurt his career. He cited other PBC fighters, Al Heyman fighters like Floyd Mayweather, and stuff that Floyd Mayweather has said. He's made quotes that said, simply put, you see it in pink, simply put, Arum simply does not care about, support, or know how to promote black fighters, and deliberately didn't build him into a marquee pay-per-view fighter. So these are some real sinister allegations at this point. And it says Crawford shines a spotlight on the systemic racism that runs through Top Rank. Top Rank's complete inability to properly promote black fighters, and Top Rank Arum, his stepson, Todd DeBuff's disparate treatment of black fighters, including Crawford. Crawford alleging in further fighting talking in the filing, Arum clearly shows his revolting bias against certain fighters that he's obliged or obligated to promote. So that was what Tim Bradley was responding to. And Tim Bradley, interesting enough, he doesn't side with Terence Crawford. He's basically refuting from his personal experiences that he's ever received this. And this is similar to whoever the Nico Ali's mom is. She recently spoke out and said Bob Arum work with my father, Muhammad Ali. Rumble, young man, rumble. I shook up the world. I'm the greatest. I'm too fake. Like, so she says Muhammad Ali and Bob Arum have changed and positively impacted the sport. So now black and brown fighters get recognition. So people who are still kind of in cahoots or still working with Top Rank, they're not sharing the same sentiments as Terence Crawford. So it's going to be interesting to see where this is going to go. I think it's also interesting because Terence Crawford and Tim Bradley seem to be personal friends. Tim Bradley really helped put Terence Crawford on, at least with Top Rank. At the time, they both had manager Cameron Duncan, who was managing both of their careers. They sparred, and Tim Bradley was raving about this kid from Omaha and how good he was. And that was, we later found out, Terence Bud Crawford. And Tim Bradley was further along in his career at the time, and he was at an advanced spot. So it came to the point where Terence Crawford got the cosign from a guy who was further along, fighting guys like Pacquiao. And when he was raving and saying, hey, give this kid a chance, put him on a big show or give him a spotlight fight, somebody listened and heard that. And then, the rest is history. Terence Crawford, with his skill set, with his mind, with his discipline, he did the rest. So Bradley was one of the early investors in Terence Crawford, so to speak. So to see these comments where, Terence Crawford is taking a stand and saying, hey, man, I'm a black fighter and black fighters aren't treated fairly, just like Kanye said in that clip to George Bush years ago with Michael Myers. He's like, Bush doesn't care about black people. That's basically what Terence Crawford is saying. And Bradley's like, I don't know what you're talking about. I've never been mistreated by them. I still work with them. They cool. They treat me good. So there's no brotherhood in terms of, I guess Bradley felt the need to get on the horn and respond. And this is someone he was called his friend and sparred with, and he's not backing up these claims. So it'll be interesting to see where this goes in the court, because Muhammad Ali's daughter and Nico Ali, he's biracial. They don't seem to be siding with it. Sparring partner and somebody who says he's Terence Crawford's friend, he's saying, hey, you on your own with this one. I ain't been treated bad. I don't know. They ain't never treated me like that. So I don't know what your experience is. I'm just going to leave it at that. So it's Crawford. It's going to be interesting to see what kind of evidence or whatever he has paper trail to prove his case, because that's what it comes down to in the court of law. In the court of law, anybody can make allegations or say this happened, X, Y, and Z because of this, and this is because of this, or stereotypes or bias or whatever. But proven in court, that becomes the challenging thing potentially, unless you got the data or the evidence to support that. And now he's not getting it from guys like Tim Bradley, a fellow African-American fighter who spent a lot of time with Top Rank. And, to each his own. He's a commentator now. Terence Crawford has not gotten the Tim Bradley experience, to be honest, because Tim Bradley actually has a great resume and got the big fights. He fought Pacquiao 3 times, whereas Terence Crawford needed a Pacquiao, and he was aligned with Top Rank at the same exact time. And for whatever reason, Bob Arum told the whole world he detonated the Pacquiao fight because he has a soft spot for Pacquiao and all this other stuff. And he said he didn't want to see Pacquiao get hurt or an older Pacquiao get slumped up and brain damage. So he did what he did. So it'll be interesting, like I said, to see where this goes. Bradley got his experience. He said, they treated me good. I got the top fights. I don't know what you're talking about, sir. So again, it is what it is. Another interesting fact outside of Bradley saying Crawford was his friend and them having the history of sparring together, with Bradley not backing this up, that's one less person that you could kind of call to the stand to share their experiences in support of what you're saying. So Bradley still has ties to Top Rank, so he probably not gonna mess his money up, or maybe he never experienced this, or he doesn't see it the same way or whatever. So Crawford, You know, he's going to have to support his claims another way. But another thing that I think is hilarious about this whole situation is Tim Bradley was one of the people who was going hard for Crawford, and he was saying stuff like this. Tim Bradley says Crawford is begging the PBC fighters to face him, right? And I remember he had this on-camera rant where he was like, he's begging. Terence Crawford wants to fight these guys. He's begging. And now come to find out, after Terence Crawford's team, Terence Crawford's fans, guys like Tim Bradley, they painted a whole different narrative that it was actually Al Heyman, a black advisor, and a black fighter, Errol Spence, and other PBC fighters like Danny Garcia and Sean Porter and Keith Thurman. It was all their fault. They didn't want to fight. And again, like I just mentioned, Bradley's saying he's begging. And then now when it comes down to it, Bradley's not even as hard as he was going, saying that Crawford was begging for the PBC fights. Crawford's now saying that it's the man you see on the screen is his fault that these fights, and there's a bias, an in-house bias within the company. He's saying there's a bias, an in-house bias within the top-ranked company, and the reason he didn't get the fights has nothing to do with PBC. So it just looks bad because Tim Bradley was ranting in your favor, and now you can see the true agenda. He was saying it was PBC's fault. It was Al Heyman's fault. He said the only guy I respect over there on PBC is Deontay Wilder because he's fighting one of our guys with Top Rank and Tyson Fury. That's what Tim Bradley said in a nutshell. And then now Terence Crawford is suing his old promoter and saying he owes me money and things that Floyd warned about and things that Boxingego warned about. And now a person who was going so hard for Terence Crawford and saying that it was everybody else's fault. Now Crawford's not even blaming the inability to secure fights on the PBC guys after kind of co-signing that, just like Bradley when he was saying Crawford's begging. And now Bradley is saying, hey, Crawford, you on your own. I ain't never had these problems. And we all know about the NBF list. They both had Cameron Duncan. So it is kind of shocking to see that Cameron Duncan, who is Caucasian, did an interview with Barbershop Conversations, and he's on wax saying that Top Rank has an NBF list where if certain fighters are making their way up, they won't match them tough with certain black fighters if they feel that black fighter will derail what they're trying to build, right? So it's ironic, again, that you have Tim Bradley, he's saying, I don't know what you're talking about. Crawford finally, years later, is saying that these biases exist. Bradley saying, I don't know what you're talking about. And for the longest, Crawford went along with it. And then you have a Caucasian manager, and again, Cameron Duncan, and he's the one telling the world about the NBF list and saying this does exist. I've seen it. I've seen the matchmakers. They do have this NBF no black fighter list. So this thing is crazy. You know, me, I'm an innocent bystander. So I'm just going to see how it unfolds. Bradley is not picking up, you know, and co-signing Terence Crawford's claims. So we'll see what Crawford got and what his next step is. Let me know how you feel in the comment section. If you want great boxing content, this is your one-stop shop. Boxingego. I'm the best in the business, I can assure you. 2022 is up. Holla. In and out. The future is now. The Hibernation 5s by Kenichi Bear. Hybrid gaming and lifestyle headphones. Out of the box, you can connect to any console or PC. Bluetooth ready with a low latency USB adapter, color RGB, and extreme bass mode. The Hibernation 5s adjust to you. Whether you need a gaming, travel, gym, or lifestyle headphones, the Hibernations got you covered. The new Hibernation 5s, link in the description. Customize the way you hear the world. Welcome to the nation. Are you tired of your YouTube videos not getting any views? Well, consider TubeBuddy. I've used TubeBuddy for years to scale up my YouTube channel. Now we're sitting over 200,000 subscribers. TubeBuddy is a browser extension that offers a ton of built-in productivity and time-saving services to take your channel to the next level. Use my link in the description to get started with TubeBuddy and level up your channel faster.